The warm spring breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers and fresh grass as I packed the last of the picnic basket. I hadn't been on a picnic in years, not since my son was young. But today was different. Today, I was going with Jake, my son's best friend. Jake had been around for years, practically like a second son to me. But somewhere along the way, he had grown into a strong, confident, and undeniably handsome one. I wasn't blind. I noticed the way his gaze lingered on me a little too long, the way his voice softened when he spoke to me. And if I was being honest with myself, I had started seeing him differently too. It was a dangerous thought. A forbidden one. But when he suggested we go on a picnic, just the two of us, I found myself saying yes before I could think better of it. Jake arrived exactly on time, his usual easy smile in place. He was dressed casually, just jeans and a fitted black t-shirt, but somehow, the simplicity of it made him look even better. His toned arms flexed as he reached for the picnic basket, effortlessly lifting it before I could protest. "You ready?" he asked, his deep voice carrying a teasing edge. I nodded, trying to ignore the flutter in my stomach. "Yeah, let's go." The drive was filled with light conversation and laughter, but beneath the surface, there was something else. An undercurrent of tension, unspoken but undeniable. The sun was beginning to set as we arrived at the secluded meadow Jake had found. It was breathtaking rolling green hills, a sparkling lake in the distance, and a giant oak tree that provided the perfect shade for our picnic. "This place is beautiful," I said as I stepped out of the car, taking a deep breath of fresh air. Jake smirked. "I thought you'd like it." His voice held something unreadable, something that made my pulse quicken. We spread out the blanket under the tree, and I unpacked the food while he poured us each a glass of wine. "Two old friendships," he said, clinking his glass against mine. I forced a smile. Two old friendships. But we both knew this was not just friendship anymore. As we ate, we reminisced about the past memories of my son and Jake getting into trouble. Silly teenage antics, old stories that made us both laugh. But as the night deepened, our conversation shifted. "You know," Jake said, setting his glass down and turning to face me fully. "I've always admired you." I let out a soft laugh, trying to diffuse the sudden tension. "Admired me? Jake, I'm practically family." He shook his head, his gaze never leaving mine. "No, not like that. Not in the way you think." My breath caught in my throat. I knew I should stop this conversation before it went any further, before we crossed a line we couldn't uncross. But I didn't. "Jake," I started, but he leaned in slightly, his voice lower now. For years I tried to ignore it, told myself it was just a stupid crush, but it never went away. His eyes darkened. "And I don't think you're as immune to me as you pretend to be." A shiver ran down my spine. The worst part? He was right. I had noticed him. The way his confidence had grown, the way his body had filled out over the years. I had told myself it was wrong, but sitting here, under the stars, with his gaze locked on mine, it didn't feel wrong. It felt inevitable. "You're my son's best friend," I whispered, as if saying it aloud would make it less complicated. Jake smirked, but there was no amusement in his eyes. "And you're the most incredible woman I've ever known. That doesn't change just because of him." I knew I should walk away, knew I should put an end to this. But then he reached out, tucking a loose strand of hair behind my ear, his fingers brushing against my skin. A spark shot through me. "You feel it too," he said, his voice barely more than a breath. And then, before I could stop myself, I leaned in. The moment our lips met, everything else disappeared. The world, the consequences, even my own doubts. His lips were warm, insistent, and when his hands found my waist, pulling me closer, A fire ignited in my veins. It was reckless. It was forbidden. And I didn't care. When we finally pulled away, breathless, Jake rested his forehead against mine. "I don't want to pretend anymore," he admitted. Neither did I. But reality came crashing back too soon. The drive home was quiet, not awkward, just heavy with everything unspoken between us. As we pulled up to my house, Jake turned to me. "What happens now?" I swallowed hard. "I don't know." But as I stepped out of the car, I knew one thing for certain: tonight had changed everything.